What is up, guys? miHoYo has just posted a flurry of tweets with a bunch of new images showcasing some of the banners, as well as the events, as well as event date times and details, and everything you're going to want to know about 2.1. So I want to make this video to go over the two banners in particular, as well as lightly go over the release dates and times and events that are going to be coming as well. So first, we're going to talk about the Baal character banner. This is one of the most insane character banners we've had for new players. This is definitely going to be a must pull for new players, in my opinion, because Sucrose is an extremely good Anemo character. If you have missed Venti and Kazuha, you're definitely going to want to have Sucrose in your arsenal of characters. Shangling is an extremely underrated character as well too. I know there's a lot of people who have been making videos about it, but I do a lot of account reviews on my stream, and there's a lot of people who do not have their Shangling built up. Shangling at C0 is not very good, but you do get a free Shangling from doing floor 3 of the Abyss, and at C1 she's going to be very okay, but she really starts shining at C4. C3 is a copium minimum level where you upgrade your burst skill level, because she has one of the strongest burst skills in the game, as well as one of the strongest off-field damages in the game. And she's Pyro Impact, double Pyro Resonance, things like that. C4 will extend her burst time by 40% from 10 seconds to 14 seconds, as well as C6 will allow for other Pyro members to have an increased 15% increased damage bonus for Pyro damage. And Kujo Sarah will be a good electro buffer. However, she won't be on the same equivalent tier as Bennett, but when we do get good electro healers as well as other electro characters, she will have more use in the future. Baal is going to be a very good energy battery, as well as a good ulti buffer for a lot of team comps. For right now, she might not be the best character, but it leaves a lot more room in the future. Her being the Electro Archon does give her a little bit of disadvantage, because Electro can be arguably the worst element in the game, but I do foresee Electro, or at least Baal, having a lot more purpose in the future, if you guys do want to pick her up for the Booba or for the collection. So really quickly, I wanted to talk about Sucrose and her constellations. So which constellations are going to be important for you to pick up? C1 is kind of the bare minimum that you would want, because it gives her an additional charge on her elemental skill. So you could store up elemental skills without having to go back on her and just start spamming your elemental skill for energy for yourself or your team. C2 will increase your burst timer for 2 seconds, and it's like kind of important when you get C6, but not so much important otherwise. C3 will increase the level of your elemental skill, and C4 is more so important if you're going to run a taser team. The taser team will essentially include Sucrose, Xingqiu, Beidou for mitigation and healing, and then your fourth would be like Kujo Sarah, Baal Official, etc, etc. It's going to be one of the team comps I'm going to be talking about in my Beidou video that you'll see later if you guys want to learn more about it, but it'll essentially use Sucrose as a main DPS, so you can swirl and do more damage other than doing physical damage. The C5 will increase your burst skill by 3 levels, and C6 is kind of like something you would want if you want to have kind of like a replacement Kazuha, because it'll give you a 20% increased elemental damage bonus for the element absorbed by Sucrose's ultimate. Kazuha pretty much at C0 buffs increases elemental damage by 20 to 40%. Depending on how much EM you have. If you have 500 EM, it's about 20%. If you have 1000 EM, it's about 40%. The only problem with this, if you're trying to replace Kazuha with the C6 Sucrose, is that it's going to be sometimes hard to infuse Sucrose's ultimate with the desired element. And that is the one big issue. But otherwise, Sucrose is an amazing character, amazing 4-star character that I highly recommend you guys get for Constellations at least C1. Really quickly, weapon-wise, for Sucrose, she can definitely use the Sacrificial Fragments, which is currently the rate-up weapon banner if you guys have not entered 2.1 yet when you're watching this video. You can also use Thrilling Tales Dragon Slayer, and if you guys are on an extreme budget because you don't have Thrilling Tales or Sacrificial Fragments, you guys can always use the Magic Guide, which is a 3-star weapon. It is an EM based weapon. Mappa Mare is also okay, but the problem with Mappa Mare is that it does have low EM, and when you're running Sucrose, you do usually want to have high EM to transfer to other people, unless you're doing a non-reactionary based team, which you'd want to use Thrilling Tales or Favonius Codex to try to get your ultimate back over and over again, or Thrilling Tales for an attack buff. Alright, for really quickly for Shangling Weapons, there's a lot of different weapons you can end up running for her. You can use Favonius Lance, Deathmatch, Dragon's Bane, or even some 3-star weapons such as the White Tassel. But I really recommend that you end up using the catch from the Fishing Association that will be coming out with Inazuma. Max Refined catch will apparently be probably better than like an R3 Dragon's Bane. And it's a great balance between increased damage bonus for her ultimate as well as energy recharge for her to get consistency for her ultimate back-to-back as well too. Really quickly, we're going to try to talk a little bit about Kujou-Sera's bow options. However, it's going to be a little bit unclear about which bow is going to be best for her until she comes out, because for Sacrificial Bow, it's going to give her energy recharge for her high energy cost ultimate. However, we're not too sure how the elemental skill reset's going to work, because it's probably going to require the Crow Feather that explodes after a short time to be the one to proc the reset. However, she does have to be on the field, which she probably won't be on the field at the time if it does happen, as well as her Crow Feather attack buff will not be able to stack anyways. For Stringless Bow or Windbloom Ode, the Elemental Mastery might not help her so much, because if she is on an Electric Charge build, she doesn't have a constant source of Electro application for that to really take part, as well as for the increased damage bonus for the elemental skill and burst skill for Stringless. The burst skill will be great, but for the elemental skill, the Crow Feather damage might not be super great. You can obviously use Viridescent Hunt, but that's not really free. You can use Rust or Prototype Crescent as stat sticks, and then there might be some 3-star weapons you could use as well. Ultimately, you're probably just going to want to use a high base attack bow, because Kujou-Sera's attack buff is going to be scaling with her base attack. But if you can see here, most of the bows have relatively similar base attack anyways, unless you go into the 5-star territory. Now we're just going to briefly talk about the weapon banner. This weapon banner is not so great. Engulfing Lightning is a great weapon, and then Forge is a pretty fairly solid weapon as long as you have Zhongli and a good Claymore user to use it on, but it has to be a main DPS Claymore user, which is essentially just Eula and Diluc. And if you wanted a Claymore for Eula, you probably go with the Song of Broken Pines as well. The 4-star weapons on this weapon banner are not so great in my opinion. The Widsith is pretty decent on like a offensive build, but not many offensive Catalyst users are currently in the meta right now. For Mona, the Widsith is not very good on a freeze build. You're better going with Favonius Codex or some other type of weapon usually. Sacrificial Bow is okay, but you do need high refinements for it to be really better or more consistent than the Favonius Bow. So for example, for Diona, I don't recommend people run Sacrificial Bow unless it's R5, because Diona has a 15-second cooldown and R1 Sacrificial Bow has a 30-second cooldown for resetting, while a Favonius Bow R1 has a 12-second cooldown. Lion's Roar doesn't have a lot of use on a lot of characters, especially with a lot of the craftables being pretty decent, as well as a lot of the other 4-star swords being pretty good. Favonius Lance is good and all, however, with the catch coming out and it being free, the catch is going to be a much better option than Favonius Lance, unless you are just trying to support your team solely. Bell is probably the worst weapon in the game, or one of the worst weapons in the game, period. That's all it is. And once again, also Engulfing Lightning, if you guys are a budget player, you can always use the catch as a replacement for Engulfing Lightning as well. I was going to talk a little bit about the events, however, I did make an update notice guide video. If you guys want to do, just check out that video, or you guys can just go on their Twitter and just check on each of these tweets for the release dates, as well as a little bit of information about each of them. I will be linking them down in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys leave a like, comment down below what you guys think about this character banner, as well as the weapon banner. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube for more Genshin Impact content. Follow me on Twitch if you guys want to have live tips on the game, as well as get your account reviewed, or Biz help for free. Make sure you guys follow the Twitter for these types of retweets and updates and Primo Gem codes and giveaways for the future. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace!